It's been a strong start to the year for the Adelaide property market. We're currently the nation's good news story, recording the highest increase in house prices compared to any other capital city.
Generally speaking, it's been pretty strong, and it feels like it's going to continue on at the moment with good weather. Certainly we're finding that there's a few more properties coming into the market through May. We'll see how it goes as it starts getting colder.
The investment market over the last quarter has actually been very strong. Our vacancy rate is very low. It's about 0.79 at the moment compared to industry average, which is up well over 1.
We're going to start to see more investor interest moving outside of New South Wales and Victoria into some of the other markets, and I think a lot more investors will be targeting cities that haven't seen that track record of growth, where affordability's been really pared back due to that rapid price growth, but also, and probably more importantly now, because the banks are really focusing on serviceability for investors.
And how about the auction results? How have they been since the start of the year?
Well, I think our auction results have been outstanding. We've had a couple of weekends, obviously, where we've sold the lot, and I'm not talking about 2 or 3 auctions. We've had 7 and 8 and so forth where we've sold them all. But generally speaking, I think across the board, I think we're running at around about that 79%, and I think they've been very strong through that first quarter.
Is there anything in particular investors are looking for at the moment?
They're looking for value. And they're looking for, obviously, for good tenants, and that's what we do, is we're very strict in our criteria of who we put in properties, but good investors, good properties, good tenants, and good rate of return.
Generally speaking, buyer confidence continues to be strong, and I think that as the new properties come and turn over quite quickly, that gives people more and more confidence to put their best foot forward and get on with it quite quickly.
So look at Sydney. Your typical buy-in price of a house in Sydney is upwards of $900,000. In Adelaide, it's almost half that. It's just over $400,000. There's about a 90% difference in prices, right, between Sydney and Adelaide. And guess what the household income difference is? It's only about 15%, right? So you've got a 15% in ability to pay down a mortgage, but a 90% difference in prices. So Adelaide, absolutely. I think one of the best opportunities here is just the sheer affordability of this market.
Well, Jen, I guess the last quarter, it's really been one of the strongest quarters I've seen. Supply is still relatively low, and we've got a significant demand for the properties, particularly up around the $1 million mark, but also our smaller investment properties, where just over the last few weeks we've seen some solid interest from Melbourne and Sydney, really in that sort of $250,000 to $500,000 range properties, which is great for our investment portfolios.
Since the beginning of 2009, we've seen Sydney prices rise by about 75%. Melbourne's up by about 65%. Adelaide's right in the middle there with most of the other capital cities. So Adelaide, Perth, Brisbane have all seen growth of about 11 to 13%.
I think the sale results are pretty strong all round. I'd love to report that they're booming. I think they're just strong. There's confidence in what people are doing. They're making good offers, sensible offers being made and accepted.
Adelaide, on the other hand, pretty steady performer here. We don't see the same ebbs and flows as many other markets. So I think Adelaide will continue to track fairly steadily as it has since 2009. We're seeing transaction numbers actually rising. So I think Adelaide's showing an improvement in buyer demand. We're seeing some modest level of price growth, pretty decent yields, and they'll continue over the next couple of years.